Cities Live in 1902.
Oh, yes.
Yes, 1902. The French silent film, A Trip to the Moon, wowed audiences with incredible special effects. You know, movies had only been around for about 10 years at that point, so this was a really big deal.
I bet it was. A Trip to the Moon was highly praised at the time, but we have come a long way since then, and there's a new movie about space travel in theaters today. Is it worth the trip? Here with the answer from the website Paul's Trip to the Movies, it's Paul McGuire Grimes, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello. Nice to have you here.
Paul, people have been talking about this one, man. First man, the story of Neil Armstrong.
And the trials and tribulations that it took for him to become the first man on the moon.
Who is starring as Neil Armstrong?
So this is Ryan Gosling as Neil Armstrong. You also have Claire Foy from The Crown as his wife.
Oh, I love her.
You have Corey Stoll, Kyle Chandler, Jason Clarke. A fantastic ensemble film. And it's directed by Damien Chazelle, who won the Oscar for La La Land.
Okay, so what's the perspective that we're getting on this?
So it really is about who he was like as a family man that really dove into his work at NASA. And as he really saw a lot of his fellow astronauts dying as these space projects were going up to try to get them to the moon. So he's a very quiet guy. He's very introverted, kind of a lot of internal struggle.
Right. I saw something on Rotten Tomatoes today, you know, where they aggregate all of those critics' reviews. Critics liked it more than fans did, and there was a fairly large margin between the two. We trust you to be the voice of the movie fan. What did you think?
I think it's a really great movie. You have to go in with, again, expectations. So much of the movie is just them at NASA figuring this out. It's not a big space exploration movie, but then you get to the ending when they actually land on the moon. Then it is this huge, epic, majestic. I mean, you are in it.
Well, that's probably kind of cool because the juxtaposition of like the quiet life versus then that big moment shows you just how monumental that moment was.
I mean, the score goes from really simple piano to a huge orchestral. You feel like you're inside the cockpit. So there's a lot of shaky cam at times, so I just want to warn people against that. But it's worth it. And then if you go see it at the IMAX, the Minnesota Zoo, on the biggest, massive screen, you are just like blown away by the visuals.
So that's the place to see it.
Yeah, I mean, when it's shot on IMAX film, you want to see it the way it should be seen in theaters, at that theater.
Okay, what's your ticket stub
So I'm
rating?
giving it 4 out of 5 ticket stubs. Ryan Gosling is great at it.
You gonna get some Oscar love for this?
I don't know if he will. The movie may.
Okay.
I don't know if he will.
That's good, right there. Should I have heard of this next movie called Hate U Give?
I don't know if you would have heard about this one. So it's based on a young adult book, and it's about a girl. It's a very timely, topical movie, and she witnesses her friend killed by a white cop after they're driving home from a party.
Oh, wow.
So when you're watching it, you very much remember what happened to like Philando Castile.
Of course, yeah.
And you know, if you go in thinking that it's told through this young girl's mind, she really is trying to find what her voice is like, and she's the only witness to this. So she's getting all of this pressure in her community either to stay silent to protect her name and image, or to share what really happened.
So this is based on a book?
It's based on a young adult book, yes. So, and the movie itself brings up so many issues: police brutality, racism, community, that it almost asks too many things without narrowing in on one specific
I was going to say, do you, and this is maybe an unfair question to ask, but do you leave feeling like, this is a hopeful scenario or a hopeful situation in the end, or like, oh man, this is fractured and we need a lot of healing here?
Yes, it's fractured and a lot of healing. You have that gut visceral reaction, like there's a big problem here. And I kind of wish it would have even directed even more viscerally, but I think because it's young adult, it's aiming to that audience, they really want to try to make it accessible to that. We had a great conversation on the way home about this movie and what it's trying to accomplish.
Ticket stubs.
So 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5, okay.
I think there's other movies that handle this topic a lot better.
All right, speaking of the young pups, let's talk about the home release that you're recommending, which is 8th grade. I hear the word 8th grade and I get nervous and stressed out.
I mean, and that is what you get out of this movie. That's Elsie Fisher as Kayla, and this movie really is that kind of slice of life look at the final weeks of 8th grade, going into high school, and her trying to find what her identity is in this day and age of social media and cruel
kids. I cannot even imagine. So is it painful to watch? Is it hard a little bit?
It is, because we weren't in that situation, but that's what makes this movie so good, is that this should be required viewing for parents, for kids, to really get inside of what they're going on, because teens aren't going to tell their parents what's going on, but then for parents to be able to see this and be like, oh, my kid's in trouble and she's not telling me.
Yeah.
That is what's so important about this movie.
Okay, so you can stream that. And
yeah, Blu-ray, DVD, get it on demand. It's well worth it. And the dialogue is so just gets right into how kids talk these days.
Oh my
They're saying things like, it's lit.
Yeah, that are like, totally, why are you talking to me? And she has her own YouTube channel. She's thriving for subscribers and likes, and then she's not getting them. And
I have that same problem.
I know, me too. We're in the 8th grade still.
Thank you so much, Paul. Okay, you can visit Paul's website. It's paulstriptothemovies.com for more movie reviews.
You can also listen to Paul on the Colleen and Bradley Show on My Talk 107.1 every Friday, or he also has a podcast, it too, called Paul's Trip to the Movies.
Okay, let's go to Ren Claire. She has a look at your weather